I used to think peace was something you earned after a lifetime of noise. 40 years of work, raising a family, taking care of a husband who loved me in his own quiet, distant way. I thought if I saved enough, stayed kind enough, endured enough, someday, peace would be my reward. So when I retired last spring, I bought a small beach house on the Carolina coast, pale yellow siding, creaky porch swing, the kind of place that smelled of salt and old books. I'd imagined mornings with coffee and gulls, evenings with the waves brushing the sand like lullabies. I wanted solitude, time to breathe, but peace, I learned, isn't something you can buy. It's something people will take from you if you let them. The first week was heaven. I unpacked my old record player, played the same songs I used to dance to barefoot in the kitchen when I was 23. The wind was warm. My hair smelled of sea air. And for the first time in years, I slept through the night without waking to worry about someone else. Then came the phone call. "Hey, Mom," said my son, Ethan, his voice that same polite tone he used when he wanted something. "Hi, sweetheart," I said, smiling. "How are the kids?" "Good, they're great. So listen, we were thinking of coming down for the weekend. You know, to see the place. The kids are dying to go to the beach." I hesitated. The house was small, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, built for one quiet life, not a family circus. But I hadn't seen my grandkids in a while. "Sure," I said, "it'll be nice to have company." It wasn't a weekend, it was an invasion. They arrived Friday night, Ethan, his wife Leela, and their 3 kids. Then out of the car came another couple, laughing with beers already in hand. "These are our friends," Ethan said, brushing past me with a cooler. "Hope you don't mind." I stood in the doorway, the smell of sunscreen and cheap beer filling my living room. My white couch turned sandy within an hour. By morning, the fridge was stripped bare, milk gone, eggs gone, the wine I'd been saving gone. When I asked Ethan if they could help tidy up, he smiled and said, "Mom, relax, you're retired. Let us enjoy ourselves. Let us enjoy ourselves." The words stung more than I wanted to admit. By the 3rd day, the quiet rhythm I dreamed of was gone. The house echoed with loud music, wet towels, and laughter that never included me. I caught Leela scrolling on her phone while her kids tracked wet footprints through my hallway. I tried to cook breakfast one morning and found a stranger, one of Ethan's friends, standing at my stove, flipping pancakes like he owned the place. "Morning, Paige," he said, winking. I smiled politely, though my hands trembled. I was invisible in my own home. That night, I sat outside alone, the ocean black under the moon. I thought about all the years I'd spent giving to Ethan, to his father, to my job. Always the caretaker, the provider, the one who made space for everyone else. I realized then no one had ever taught me how to take up space myself. So I decided to change that. When Ethan announced they'd stick around for the week, I smiled and said, of course. I even offered to make dinner for everyone the next night. They cheered, "That's our girl," Ethan said, patting my shoulder. That night, I started my surprise. The next morning, while they all slept, I called a locksmith. "Change the locks," I said, "today." The man looked at me, surprised. "You sure, ma'am?" "Oh, yes," I said, completely. I also made a few calls to local hotels, just in case my guests would need somewhere else to stay. Then I went shopping. I bought fresh seafood, good wine, candles that smelled like driftwood and sage. I set the table for dinner beautifully, like I used to when I still believed family meant respect. When evening came, the sky turned gold and the sea shimmered like glass. Everyone gathered around, laughing, drinking. Ethan toasted to Mom's retirement, as if I hadn't been quietly erased all week. I waited until dessert, a key lime pie I'd made from scratch, before I stood up. "I have an announcement," I said. They quieted down. The only sound was the waves. "I bought this beach house because I wanted peace," I said. "I worked my entire life for it. Every dime, every long night, every sacrifice, it was for a future where I could finally rest. I love you all, but this week you've shown me something important. Ethan frowned. Mom, what are you talking about? I smiled gently. You've shown me that peace doesn't come from being surrounded by family. It comes from boundaries. They stared at me confused. So, starting tomorrow morning, I continued, you'll all need to find somewhere else to stay. Leela laughed nervously. Oh, you're joking, right? No. I said softly. I've booked rooms for you at the Seaview Inn. 3 nights on me. That's more than generous, considering the food you've eaten, the damage you've done, and the fact that I haven't had a single quiet hour in my own home. Ethan's face went red. Mom, this is ridiculous. I looked at him, really looked. The man who used to call me crying from college, the boy who used to hold my hand in grocery stores. Somewhere along the way, he had learned to take and never give. Maybe because I'd let him. No, Ethan, I said calmly. What's ridiculous is how you've treated me. I raised you to respect people's homes, and you've disrespected mine. Leela started to protest, but I lifted my hand. It's not up for debate. The locks have already been changed. You can collect your things in the morning. I'll leave the back door open until 10. There was silence, thick, heavy, like the pause before a storm. Then Ethan stood up. Fine, he said coldly. If that's how you want it, it is, I said. They left early the next day, slamming doors, muttering about how ungrateful I was. The beach was quiet again. I sat on the porch with my coffee, watching their car disappear down the road. For the first time in years, I felt something deep in my chest, not guilt, not sadness, but relief. That evening, I took a walk down the shore. The tide was low, and the horizon glowed pink. I let the waves touch my feet, the water cool and forgiving. I thought of all the women like me, mothers, wives, caretakers, who had spent their lives being the safe place for everyone else. I thought of how easy it was to forget that we deserve peace too. A few weeks later, I got a letter from Ethan. No apology, not really, just a few lines saying he understood and hoped I was happy. I didn't reply. Not because I was angry, but because I finally didn't owe him an explanation. Now, every morning, I wake to the sound of gulls and the smell of salt through my window. Sometimes, I sit on the porch swing and watch other families pass by, laughing, shouting, building sandcastles. And I smile because I've learned that love doesn't mean sacrificing yourself. It means knowing when to close the door and keep your peace safe. And that was my surprise. Not revenge, not punishment, just freedom.